Tropical storm Chantal has formed. I'll let you know the impacts to expect on the east coast of the United States, and tropical waves continue to race across the Caribbean. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather, and it's great to see you on this Saturday. I hope you're doing well. Coming up, we now have Tropical Storm Chantal continuing to get a little bit stronger. We're going to get some significant impacts along portions of the east coast of the United States for the rest of the weekend. I'll highlight that. Tropical waves racing across the Caribbean will also bring some impacts. A lot to get into. Let's get started. Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. It's storm season, friends. You get storm damage. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. As always, I want to hear from the Meteo Mundo weather community, regardless of where you're viewing from. Let me know in the comments section below what's been happening, what the weather has been like. Service analysis showing you Chantal here off of the Carolina coastline, beginning to strengthen a bit here late on this Saturday. Tropical wave in the central Caribbean, a tropical wave moving through Central America, and two more tropical waves in the Atlantic Basin that will bring impacts as we get into next week. But we'll obviously start this video off with the latest information on Chantal. So the numbers that you see are wind gusts in miles an hour, and these winds are beginning to freshen up now along the Carolina coastline and offshore. Of course, I have access to live buoy data here at Meteo Mundo as well, and you're seeing some wind gusts in some of those offshore buoys from the Carolina coastline that are now approaching 40 miles an hour. So a little bit of an elongated system, drier air to the west, but a big blowup of convection here along the east side of the storm. So Chantal right now, as of the 2 p.m. advisory, has winds of 45 miles an hour. You'll see it says 47 because my system actually has to the exact mile per hour, but they'll round it down to the nearest 5. So from the official forecast, Hurricane Center, it's 45. It is forecast to strengthen slightly up to winds of 50 miles an hour as we go later into this Saturday, and then making landfall overnight early Sunday morning along the South Carolina coastline near Myrtle Beach, potentially up towards the southern coastline of North Carolina as well. And you can see that some of these winds are really beginning to pick up. This is going to be a little bit more of a direct impact for these areas now that the center of circulation is really beginning to wrap up. So Charleston area has had some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. The offshore buoy there has picked up a nearly 50-mile-an-hour wind gust. Really, we're expecting the worst conditions from the Surf City area of North Carolina back towards Charleston. And then the heaviest rain will be along where the landfall occurs in areas off to the east, all the way up towards OBX. The Outer Banks, including Kill Devil Hills, Duck, Kitty Hawk, places like that, just all along the North Carolina coastline. So again, these are current winds. Let me, we got a lot of different things I can look at here. Let me throw on the actual wind direction here at the lower levels. And I'm also going to switch over to the visible satellite imagery here with the radar data as well. So let's take a look at kind of all of those different things. I'm going to dump off our wind radii. So this is the overall spin. You guys can clearly see that. This has wrapped up very nicely. Still a little bit of drier air on the northern and the western sides. What that means is not as much rain, Charleston towards Savannah, but still a lot of wind, dangerous rip currents. You know, winds and squalls are already coming on shore, producing winds again of well over 40 miles an hour in some areas. The bottom line is it's just going to be an extremely rough remainder of the holiday weekend here. Carolina coastline, Georgia coastline, even the east coast of Florida, there's a lot of ample moisture back down here. But, you know, now that we have ourselves a decent tropical storm with winds of 45 miles an hour, the direct impacts of wind damage along the immediate coast of the Carolinas, especially, again, the northern coast of South Carolina, the southern coastline of North Carolina, is a little bit more ramped up a bit here. So we have to watch out for that. And these squalls will continue to move in towards I-95. And eventually this system will kind of just pull along I-95 into the Carolinas, bring some heavier rain up to 6 inches in a couple of spots, and ultimately die out inland into the southern sides of Virginia. So let's take a look at the model. I'm going to bring up the HRRR model. It's the high resolution rapid refresh. Again, this is a very high resolution model. It only goes out 48 hours, but you know, all the models that I've been looking at here over the last 24 hours bring this inland. All right. So we'll kind of take this stair step from time to time. Now look, is this ever going to wrap up and become an extremely strong system? No, it's running out of time to get much stronger, but 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds near Myrtle Beach, which means gusts of up to 60 as we get overnight into Sunday morning. Absolutely not out of the question. You can see the heavier rain beginning to come on shore late on this Saturday through early on Sunday. Myrtle Beach, the Wilmington areas towards I-95. And look, some of this heavier rain is going to reach even places like Raleigh, Durham, and North Carolina later in the day on Sunday. And again, as it moves inland, this kind of just mushrooms out a little bit with some of the rain beginning to sprawl out a bit across North Carolina. Heavier showers and squalls will continue to the OBX area through the remainder of Sunday and into early on Monday morning. We'll start to see this begin to fade. But over the next 24 to 36 hours, we're going to get some rain and flooding impacts. We're going to get some big time wind impacts along the coast and very dangerous rip current and sea conditions, especially along the Carolina coastline. We do have tropical storm warnings in effect from the Surf City area south of Myrtle Beach, and then the lighter blue is a tropical storm watch, including the Charleston area. But Myrtle Beach north is where I expect us to have the most direct wind impacts. Let's take a look at those winds here on the HRRR model. I'm going to switch over to that. These are going to be your sustained winds, right? So here's your sustained winds. Now we can also see where the center of circulation moves on shore compared to the line here. The interesting thing is that, again, we have a direct line and we never follow that direct line, but the Myrtle Beach area, but the HRRR model is a little bit farther west than that. And it might matter because wherever the center of circulation moves on shore, to along that area and east is where you're going to have the most prominent winds and storm surge. So if the center of circulation moves onshore between Charleston and Myrtle Beach will have more of the onshore wind. The storm surge is forecast to be 1 to 3 feet in this area, but could be locally higher just east of the center of circulation. So if it moves in just south and west of Myrtle Beach could get a little bit more in the way of the storm surge, at least in that higher 2 to 3 foot category. And when we take a look at the winds overall here, watch it again come on shore. And again, these are sustained winds here, guys. So take a look at these. Here in these yellows, you have those sustained winds right around 50 miles an hour. So the HRRR model does support winds of around 50 miles an hour at landfall on the northeast quadrant, which is always going to be your strongest side. Again, sustained winds, 51, 52 miles an hour, right in line with what the National Hurricane Center is showing. And again, impacts from Myrtle Beach up towards Little River, Long Beach, and even on over towards the Surf City area of North Carolina. On the western side of this, right, you get much lighter winds in a relative sense, much drier air in play, but still some impacts to wind here in the Charleston area. And this system overall will continue to bring very squally weather along the North Carolina coastline through at least Sunday evening. And even in the back end of this, there's a ton of wind and moisture being pulled in from the eastern Gulf. Remember that this center has developed along this large trough area from the eastern Gulf into the West Atlantic. So you have your strongest weather here, but we have a lot of tropical energy still back into central, southern sides of Florida and the northern sides of the Bahamas. So these are the European rainfall totals, and you're going to see a lot of, darker reds here, indicative of 3+ inches of rain. I think it's 3 inches very widespread for central and especially eastern North Carolina, portions of coastal sides of South Carolina, but up to 6 inches in a couple of spots. On the HAFS-A model, these are the wind gusts forecast before landfall, and you do see some mid-40s here already, and those are already bearing out. Again, we had a 47, official report in Charleston, and our model has 45, so it's right in line. Obviously, surf and seas are another big threat. Seas will be building, especially on the eastern flank of Chantal, moving up the Carolina coastline and eventually off to shore, but not fantastic, even up towards the Delmarva Peninsula Sunday and into early on Monday. So these are the overall impacts I expect. For South and North Carolina, 3 to 6 inches of rain, locally higher, some flooding threat. Always check in with the local National Weather Service offices and your local government for any information for your specific area. Wind gusts in a broad sense will be more than 40 miles an hour along the coast. But again, there will be that pocket of 50 to 60 mile an hour winds near the center of circulation. It's not going to be very expansive, but wherever that puppy moves on shore just to the east, 50 to 60 mile an hour winds will accompany it. Life-threatening rip currents. Florida has been inundated with rain, especially from the Orlando area down towards Miami, including Tampa and Fort Myers, places like that. 3 to 6 inches of rain. Still fresh winds along the East Coast up to 30 miles an hour. Rough seas and rip currents. Still not a fantastic end to the holiday weekend for Florida, and the northern Bahamas have also had some stormy weather in 1 to 3 inches in a couple of spots. So again, we can wipe off the third name of the Atlantic hurricane season, and we're doing so about a month ahead of schedule. Typically, we get the third name storm sometime late July or early August. We've already ripped through 3. I know Andrea wasn't much at all. Barry was a weaker tropical storm. Chantal was actually the strongest of the 3. Dexter is the next storm that is into play. All right, so let's go back over to our satellite and radar composite here. And again, we've kind of really broken down what's going to be happening with Chantal. So our friends up in that area of the United States, we wish you guys the absolute best and hope you guys stay weather aware. I'll keep you updated here at Meteo Mundo. You can clearly see the thunderstorms breaking out southern central sides of Florida, Orlando back down towards Miami. Healthy tropical downpours. Same situation in the northern Bahamas as well. Walker's Key, Grand Bahama, the Abacos, Bimini, Nassau, New Providence, good thunderstorm over Andros, a few trying to develop over the Luther area. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, when I bring on these winds again out of the surface, they have swung back out of the south, right? And again, all of this is feeding into our tropical storm. So now that the center of circulation is north of the northern Bahamas, all of these winds are due south, moisture-laden air, heavier downpours. Can't rule out a brief water spout, but it's more about just the showers and thunderstorms across the northern Bahamas the remainder of this Saturday and into early on Sunday at least. If you're new to Meteo Mundo, or if you're just tuning in for the first time in a while, we now have live cameras across the Caribbean. I love to show you guys these. This is a live look to Governor's Harbor in central Eleuthera. Doesn't look too bad there in Eleuthera at the hour. A lot of the thunderstorms are just to the north and west of the island. A bit of a breeze from time to time there and some passing showers. And again, a rumble of thunder absolutely not out of the question in Eleuthera later in the day. A little bit of thunderstorm activity just off of Long Island. This camera is looking west, so these thunderstorms are building west of the Long Island area there in the White House area. But you can see those billowing cumulonimbus clouds indicative of some of the instability in the atmosphere as all that tropical moisture feeds into Tropical Storm Chantal. Scattered showers will continue across the southern and central sides of the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. Again, enough instability to produce a couple of showers and storms, but not expecting anything to be widespread. All right, I'm going to zoom out to the big picture once again, and let's kind of reset things here and go on with the rest of the forecast. Showers and storms are breaking out over portions of Cuba at the hour. Again, very localized. We're trying to get a little bit of rain right now over Jamaica, but my friends in Jamaica, I mentioned this in the last couple of videos here that we're beginning to dry out. We have a little bit of Saharan dust coming in, fresh wind along the coastline. The winds in Kingston have hit around 30 miles an hour for today, and it's been fairly warm and humid outside as well. Very limited opportunity for any rain over the Cayman Islands, and that will continue over the next couple of days. We're seeing a few scattered showers developing over the Dominican Republic and Haiti at the hour. Fresher winds as well. Santiago de los Caballeros, right around a 25 mile an hour wind. Port-au-Prince, 25. Again, a few thunderstorms, interior locations, but at this point in time, they're relatively few and far between. I'll bring back on the lightning count. It's picked up a little bit, but nothing outrageous. Bit of haze in the sky over Puerto Rico and the the Virgin Islands. Now you can clearly see this axis of our tropical wave, and we're trying to throw back in some of this moisture from the south into the west over Puerto Rico, the eastern tip of the DR near Punta Cana, and portions of the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. We'll see if it brings us nothing more than just a veil of clouds, right? You know, there's not a ton of lift in the atmosphere right now with that drier Saharan air layer in place. So, you know, limited rain chances overall, but we could get a couple of showers. The heat is another big story. When you factor in the humidity, feels like temperatures are well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in a lot of areas here, you know, including towards Punta Cana and west. Ooh, take a look at that one here. I believe that is La Romana. Yeah, your feels like temperature in La Romana today hit 110 Fahrenheit. Santo Domingo, not much better. The Samana Peninsula, 110, 111. That is nasty heat. And again, it's that Saharan air layer trapping in all the low-level moisture, and you kind of just get that veil of clouds, and it's just a weight to the air. And again, these are feels like temperatures, not actual air temperatures, so don't be confused, but this is what it really feels like on the body when you step outside. Let me go back over to our wind gusts. And again, a couple of thunderstorms northwest side of Puerto Rico at the hour, Arecibo towards the Aguadilla area, but fairly limited. Same situation across the Lesser Antilles for today as well. Shallow moisture coming in with our easterly winds, but many dry hours and locations. Nice little ribbon. You can almost see that. It's a little bit more moisture-laden air. It's going to try and bring in a couple of showers late on this Saturday for Barbuda and Antigua. It's a passing, fast-moving shower. That's it, guys. Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, Montserrat, back down towards Guadeloupe. Dominica, Martinique, a little bit of extra cloud coverage there. A little bit more moisture in the Windward Islands for today. Maybe TNT catches a slightly better chance for a shower here. This is what it looks like on the enhanced satellite imagery. You can see a little bit more moisture developing there. Trinidad, Tobago, air quality values in most of these areas are going to be moderate at best. And of course, we've got our live camera in St. Lucia, so got to show you that. Again, haze, relatively overcast skies. Not a ton of wind, not a ton of rain for today in St. Lucia, but also not a lot of sunshine. That's a live look from the Corinth area on the western side of the island. Again, fantastic to bring you those live looks for you guys. Few building showers again here, but not a lot. The axis of this tropical moisture is beginning to move over the ABC Islands. We're trying to get a couple of showers to develop there at the hour. A little bit more limited here, but I believe we're going to get a decent chance for some rain, and if it doesn't happen this afternoon, it could happen this evening or even overnight for Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Slightly better chance for Aruba, a little bit closer to the axis of the richest, deepest tropical moisture. Unfortunately, the Oranjestad camera is down right now. I wish I could show you guys that one live, but obviously that's a fantastic shot. My friends of the ABC Islands, let me know what's been happening. We continue to see some moisture-laden air drive through the southwest side of the Caribbean as well. Bring back on the infrared satellite imagery, showers and storms breaking out. Panama, Costa Rica, the southern sides of Nicaragua. We're beginning to see more healthier storms now. Nicaragua, interior sections of Honduras towards Managua, Tegucigalpa, then trying to just build up, but also encountering some drier air with fairly hot and humid conditions for the Bay Islands, coastal Guatemala, and Belize. You know, temperatures for you right now are back well into the lower 90s in a couple of spots. And then you get back into the northern sides of Quintana Roo and the Campeche area. We're starting to see, you know, mid and upper 90s in a few spots, getting a couple of isolated thunderstorms developing right here in Cancun and Cozumel. So late on this Saturday, we're picking up a couple of storms there. Let's get into the forecast, friends. Thanks for taking a quick second and liking this video. It really helps out the channel more than you think, and I really appreciate those who do that. Thanks for subscribing. Join our Meteo Mundo weather community. It's an awesome community. Appreciate those who have found other ways to support the channel, including all of our members. We've had our supporter tier for a while. That's just 99 cents a month. You want to do a simple thing to help support me here at the channel. You get custom badges and emojis during our live streams. You want to kick it up a notch. Our new tier is called Team MM. You also get access to exclusive member shorts from time to time. I'll grab my phone and talk about things in between the videos, maybe my thoughts on developing tropical systems, some behind the scene videos as well. You never know what's going to happen. I appreciate all those who have found ways to support the channel via our memberships too. All right, so that Sahara dust layer is fairly concentrated right now, especially in the Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, and it's just going to be booking its way off towards the west. The remainder of the week, you can see the brighter colors are your thickest, you know, areas of Saharan dust. So late this weekend, early next week, Puerto Rico, you know, DR and Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba, Cayman Islands, and eventually over portions of Central America. Let me go back over to that, and you can see that sweeping into the Western Gulf. Another plume is coming late next week, but this one shouldn't be as concentrated as the one that we're currently seeing, but it's still going to bring a swath of drier air back into the Eastern Caribbean as we get towards the end of next week. So let's get into the forecast here, and of course I've got your island by island forecast. Now for our friends in Bermuda, you know, these could be a few passing showers, but I don't expect us to have any direct impacts, you know, out of Chantal. More than likely, this is going to stay far enough towards the west. And, you know, someone in the comment section yesterday said, hey, Rusty, we could actually use some of that rain. I get it. I think there'll be a little bit of throw-off moisture in that area, but I don't expect there to be a lot. And we'll take a look at your daily forecast coming up in Bermuda and many other spots as well. Just loading up the GFS model here. Takes just 1 second after showing you guys the HER a little bit earlier. So, again, we'll start off in the Bahamas because we're still going to have some scattered showers, rumbles of thunder, and tropical downpours through at least tomorrow afternoon, mainly in the northern Bahamas. I'm talking about, you know, New Providence and north, especially Grand Bahama, Walker's Key, Bimini, and the Abacos. Chantal, again, by all accounts, will be moving inland. All the models basically show that. Still, again, a wet system on the east side, and you can see some of that heavier rain spreading through eastern sides of North Carolina. But does it get a couple hundred more miles east and actually bring appreciable rain to Bermuda? Probably not. We could throw off a couple of waves of showers coming in. I've got a slightly better chance for rain as we get into our Monday in Bermuda, but just not a lot. Not certainly direct impacts there, but we're also not going to get direct wind impacts, which is, not a bad situation for those areas too. Central, southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, a couple of passing showers the next few days. You'll be on the northern extent of that Saharan air layer coming in. You'll probably see a little bit of haze in Grand Turk early in the week, but still could develop a couple of showers and storms underneath that. Better rain chances will be better again in Cuba, just those daily storms. Havana, Cienfuegos, Santiago de Cuba, trying to push off the southern coastline, could always try and make a run towards the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, but not a ton. Now, we should start to see a little bit better rain chance in Jamaica beginning early next week. Tomorrow, Monday, still might be fairly dry, but behind the initial push of that Saharan air, and again, it's going to be hazy for Kingston, Port Moore, Spanish Town, Montego Bay, Negril areas over the next couple of days for us here. Still some fresh winds off of the southern coastal waters as well, but hopefully getting more passing showers moving back into the forecast. Same situation for our friends in the Cayman Islands as well, including Grand Cayman. Hopefully better rain chances at the latest by mid next week. We'll see an undercutting of rain here in the Dominican Republic and Haiti over the next couple of days as the Saharan air layer moves in. We're still going to develop some isolated showers and storms, and some of that could produce some locally heavy rainfall, but it's just not going to be widespread. So you catch a couple of showers here in the next couple of afternoons, consider yourselves lucky. Still shallow easterly moisture coming in with our trade winds. So, for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and especially Vieques and Culebra and the eastern sides of Puerto Rico, we could fire up a couple of showers, but the big story will also be the heat. Again, we've had some heat advisories. You saw the feels like temperatures today in many spots were well above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not going to change, especially for tomorrow on Sunday. Might improve a little bit on Monday and Tuesday, but not much in the shorter term here. And again, just fast moving showers. When you look at the forecast here for the Lesser Antilles in general, you'll see that I have moderate rain chances in, but there is going to be hardly any appreciable rain. We're talking about fast moving showers, Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Barts, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Montserrat in the coming days. There's not going to be a lot in the way of a lot of rain in the buckets here over the next couple of afternoons. There's many dry hours and locations, but shallow moisture, passing showers, that's the forecast I've got. Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique will be in that same boat as well. We'll see a little bit better chance for rain in the next 24 hours, St. Lucia South, Barbados, some passing showers, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, especially down towards TNT. Now look, it's not a huge chance, but it's better than areas to the north, and then drier air comes back in on Monday and Tuesday. The next tropical waves that'll be coming in from the Atlantic Basin, going to take a little bit of time to get here. Again, they'll be fighting a little bit of Saharan dust as well, but especially down towards the Windward Islands by midweek, we should see a better rain chance begin to return. Scattered rain will be breaking out across the ABC Islands, nothing extremely concentrated, but a couple of passing showers there. Again, fast moving showers. The wind is still a huge story. From time to time, we're going to get some 30 to 35 mile an hour gusts across the islands each and every day. Moisture is much better here in the Southwest Caribbean, continuing to provide heavy rainfall for Panama and Costa Rica. Scattered showers for Honduras, good chance for rain for Nicaragua, expecting a few showers. Belize, Guatemala, so Belize City, San Ignacio, some cooling rain, couple of cooling showers up here in portions of Quintana Roo. And oh, by the way, this red area is that other invest. The 7th named storm of the East Pacific season is coming. It's going to be named Gil. Right on the heels of that, we already have another area of interest. So it's unbelievable. Right now, the count is 6-3, East Pacific versus the Atlantic. But in short order, they're going to get their 7th named storm. And it's the G named storm. It's Gil. All right, here's your island by island forecast. Northwest Bahamas, 40 tomorrow, 30 Monday, back up to a 40 on Tuesday. Decent rain chances. Slightly lower the next couple days, central and southeast, back up to a 40 on Tuesday as well. Building rain chances behind the dust. Turks and Caicos. Again, you're right on the edge of that dust, Grand Turk, Caicos area. Not a lot, but should limit the rain chance slightly. Scattered showers and storms for Cuba each and every afternoon. A few showers for the Cayman Islands, nothing on the higher end. Belize City will just continue to see passing showers, a few isolated storms, hot and humid when it's not raining. Cancun and Cozumel, again, a few showers and storms in the forecast, just like you saw this afternoon. I've still only got a 30% chance for rain in the afternoon hours in Jamaica for right now. Might be able to improve the rain chance on Tuesday. I'll keep an eye on it. I think midweek, the rain chances do improve again. Dominican Republic, 40 tomorrow, 30 Monday, Tuesday. Not a lot of rain the next 2 days in Puerto Rico, slightly higher on Wednesday. U.S. and British Virgin Islands will have a little bit better chance for some rain the next couple of afternoons here, just based on how the wind fields are going to be, and some fast moving showers coming out of sides of the Leeward Islands. But again, even in the Virgin Islands, these are very limited fast moving showers. There's not going to be a lot of real rainfall in these areas. Bermuda's rain chance again slightly higher on Monday. Anguilla, a 50% chance on Monday as well. A little bit elevated again east of Puerto Rico. St. Kitts and Nevis, you'll see that. Antigua, Barbuda. Once again, I told you guys, not horrible rain chances. So the rain is going to be somewhat scattered in nature, but just not a lot as far as heavier downpours. A little bit lower and drier on Tuesday. Guadeloupe, Dominica, 40 to a 50% chance the next couple of days. Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines. You get farther south, your best rain chance is tomorrow, and then drying about a bit on Monday and Tuesday. You'll see that in Barbados as well. Slightly higher rain chance Sunday, Monday, lower on Tuesday. Scattered rain, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname and Guyana. Decent chance for some scattered showers and storms. Few showers tomorrow in Nueva Esparta, and then mainly dry. And again, at least a couple of scattered showers in the forecast for the ABC Islands, both on Sunday and Monday. Again, central sides of the Caribbean, western sides of the Caribbean, building wave heights. You can even see towards the northern sides of the Dominican Republic at Haiti and back towards Turks and Caicos a little bit more wind and wave. And obviously Chantal is bringing some elevated surf and sea conditions along the Carolina coastline and the Gulf Stream waters up the eastern seaboard of the United States. All right, so what does the rainfall totals look like overall? Well, again, you're going to have some areas here that will hit that 4 to 6 inch rainfall total. We've got some heavier rain in portions of Cuba. You still have some widely scattered heavier rainfall in portions of Central America as well. Just to show you guys what the GFS model is showing here, from the rainfall totals. And again, these are, pockets of heavier rain here in portions. There's your 5 to 6 just offshore, so it doesn't move inland. And again, on the east side of the center of circulation, coastal North Carolina, including the OBX, I think you've got really solid 3 to 4 widespread and locally up to 6 inches of rain. Just to show you here in Jamaica, we're going to try and get a few more showers eastern, and developing showers and storms out west could produce a little bit more rain from time to time as well. So let's get into the extended forecast tropically. What does this look like for the week ahead? So I'm just going to take this out. What's today, the 5th? What do you say we go out to the 11th? And just kind of take a look at what's going to be happening outside of Chantal. As I've already mentioned, the 7th named storm of the Pacific season is on the way. Now, we are going to have our fast-moving tropical waves coming in. This time of the year, they're still not developing off the west coast of Africa. These are developing in the southern Atlantic basin. We call it the intertropical convergence zone. We have these monsoon troughs, which are just kind of situated there this time of the year, both here and also in the East Pacific, aiding in all of the rain for the southern sides of Central America. Ultimately, these lift up to the north, and we start to see these tropical waves lift north in latitude and have more impact in the Eastern Caribbean and the Western Atlantic in general. At least over the next week, I do expect more surges of moisture coming in. But as far as anything really trying to wrap up, well, the models are relatively tame in that happening. So outside of Chantal, at least for now, over the next 5 to 6 days, not expecting a lot in the way of any higher end areas of tropical development. I'm going to bring up the spin in the atmosphere, right? This is our vorticity product. It's not at the surface, but it is a composite of the lower levels. So where you see the brighter colors, like near Chantal, those are stronger areas of spin. So when I show you this in a broad perspective, again, you'll see some of that spin coming along our tropical waves in the Atlantic Basin. Some of this will move across the eastern sides of the Caribbean, but stay relatively open, elongated waves, right? We get 60 to 70 tropical waves every year here in our area. Only a few of those become tropical storms or stronger, and I do expect a few more tropical waves to work across their area next week. They'll bring moisture, they'll bring downpours, they'll bring a lot of wind, but at this point in time, not expecting anything to truly wrap up. European model, again, Chantal moving inland in South Carolina, then I'll let this run out through the 11th as well. It'll continue to loop, but if you look outside of Chantal, things look to be quiet, at least in that short term. We'll take it. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for taking a quick second and following us across all of our social media platforms. We are on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video, help tell the weather story in your area, it's mymeteomundo@gmail.com. As always, if you have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. While you're down there, thanks for liking and subscribing. And please remember that Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lane Law Firm of Central Florida. It is storm season, friends. A storm moves into your area, you get damaged. You want an advocate on your side. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Friends, have a great rest of your day. I'm back tomorrow with the latest forecast right here at Meteo Mundo.